and welcome back to the Ghoulin Around podcast, the show where we talk about all things horror. Today we're going to be starting the Generations series, and so today we're going to start with the 2000s. So just to start off, we're not exactly going with the best movies of each gen, but basically our favorites. Today I'm your host, Jason Massey, and joining me is...
Joanne Massey.
And Loretta Mooney.
All right, so let's kick this off. So my number 5 is Dawn of the Dead, the 2004 remake of George Romero's classic, the 1978. So it basically just centers around the plot that a couple of survivors basically just go to the mall and try to survive the zombie apocalypse. It's as simple as that. So what did you guys like and dislike about it?
I never really cared for this movie. I saw it once in theaters, and I never went back and watched it until you brought it back up, and I was like, well, I know people went to a mall and there was a zombie baby, and that was about it, so I had to rewatch the movie.
That's what everyone remembers about the movie, is the zombie baby.
The zombie baby. And I think my favorite thing was Andy across the street at his gun shop. And I really liked him because they were able to develop this relationship with him just by using whiteboards. Yeah,
like no audio, just signs back and forth. And he was like one of the best characters in the movie.
Yes, I was really upset when he died.
Also for me, he was my favorite in the whole movie. I didn't really care for the remake at all.
No?
No. I just thought it had been done way too many times by that point. So it was kind of boring to me. Yeah. But he was my favorite. I did like him.
One of the downsides of the Dawn of the Dead movie was that it was coming into kind of like a flush market where there was like always a zombie film coming out.
Yes, and everything had been done and overdone.
Pretty much.
Overdone, pretty much.
I liked it because it was one of my first zombie films I ever watched, and I was just watching TV, and it was on one of the, I think it was like FX or something, and I tuned into it, and I was like, all right, this movie's interesting. And one of the first scenes I saw was the zombie baby. And I was like, I need to watch this now. And I watched it, and then I learned it was a remake of George Romero, and then I got into George Romero. So I basically say Dawn of the Dead is what got me into zombies. Any dislikes about it? Well,
it was just another zombie movie to me. When I rewatched it just like a week ago, I actually went to the special features and I found Andy's lost tapes.
Oh my god.
I actually, after watching those, I did not like him anymore. I thought he was ridiculously retarded. He was kind of like this, I don't know, did you watch him? I
never saw the special tapes. No.
So it's like him inside his shop, like making these tapes, giving like updates of what's going on. And, he's like, this day I'm out of food. He's like, I just got to survive, 2 weeks. And, and he's kind of like, I wouldn't say like white trash, but like that's kind of like
hillbilly.
Like he's your typical like party hard, drunk, white trash guy, I guess. That's kind of how he's perceived now, and I'm just like, I don't like that anymore.
Kind of ruins the character.
It did. He eats his goldfish.
He eats a goldfish?
He eats a goldfish, yeah.
Oh my. Oh my.
Yeah, because he's that hungry.
I mean, I would too. Like in the zombie apocalypse, got no food and there's a goldfish. I'm going to eat the goldfish. Don't stop me now.
Put him in a fry pan and fry him up.
Yeah. Have fried goldfish.
Yeah, careful, he shrinks.
Yeah. They're mini fish sticks.
Right. But probably the thing that I didn't like about it was just the whole, it was the whole thing. It had been done so many times. But I think what really got me was the zombie baby. The zombie baby, obviously, I'm a mother, so, in that aspect, it's just really got to me to see.
An actual zombie baby?
Yeah. A lot of other zombie movies had not done that at that point. I know now, what was it? The one that's on Sci-Fi, the zombie show. It's a
Zombie
show.
Nation?
Yeah, Zombie Nation. I
that's
know
what it's
they
called.
had. They had gotten into that, but of course, Dawn of the Dead was first, and I
way
just
back in
didn't.
2004.
Yeah, I just didn't really care for the whole zombie baby part.
I thought it was interesting that they actually went through with the whole zombie baby. Like, they showed her being pregnant, getting scratched, and then even giving birth and dying. Because a lot of other movies, like, reference it being like, oh,
Yeah.
no, what happens if, my baby eats me out? But not like that. But, yeah, and it actually went through with it, and I was amazed.
Yeah.
So, do you think it holds up today?
So a lot with the 2000s is they're really recent. They're not that old, so a lot of these movies from the 2000s are going to hold up. I think like the special effects with the zombie baby it still holds up, but you can definitely tell it's fake, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
So I think maybe today they could probably make that scene a little bit better. But I think my favorite part that really holds up was when they're down in the garage and that zombie that doesn't have any legs comes like crawling on top of the pipe and like jumps on top of him, and I was just like, oh man, that was so good.
Yeah, that seems pretty good.
Yeah, that scene's probably one of my favorites.
Lighting and the suspense.
Yeah.
It's just so nicely shot.
Like she said, I think because it was done in the 2000s, there's not a whole lot to go off of to not make it hold up.
Yeah,
but
it's not like you're watching the movie and it's like an effect is so bad that it really takes you out. Like, the only like effects that kind of take you out for like early 2000s movie like Dawn of the Dead is in the early 2000s they really did a lot of CGI stuff, and CGI back then is not as good as it is today. So yeah, like the animation for the zombie baby, it's all right when you watch it, but like on multiple viewings it's just like, that doesn't exactly look right.
Yeah.
All right. The next movie that we'll be talking about is Pandorum. So this movie basically hinges on the premise that these two astronauts awake on a spaceship, and they're the only two awake, and they soon figure out that they're not alone with some creatures after them, and they soon have to figure out how to fix the ship. So, what'd you guys think of it?
Well, we kind of talked about this. I really didn't care for that movie.
Hurts me.
I found too many like holes in it, and like because like he knows how to fix the ship, like he remembers how to fix the ship, but he can't remember who he is or who this other person is. Like, well, that's convenient.
Yeah.
And then like when he comes out of the cryogenics and he's like peeling off his skin, that to me didn't make sense from like a medical aspect as well. I was just kind of like, okay, why would he be peeling off his skin? That doesn't make any sense. You're gonna die if you're peeling off your skin.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked it in a way, but I also disliked it. When we watched it, I really didn't understand where these creatures had come from and what all was kind of going on. I mean, you kind of figure a little bit more out as you go through the movie. Of course, you're going to laugh at this, but my favorite part was with Norman Reedus.
Yep.
It was actually kind of cool to see him in a part where he was kind of defenseless, obviously, because I watch him in The Walking Dead, and he's not defenseless in The Walking Dead.
You watch him in
like
The Walking Dead, and he's this total badass that's killing zombies left and right. And in this movie, he shows up, dies 3 minutes later.
Yeah, pretty much. So it was kind of cool to see him in a different type of role in a horror type of thing. But I still don't really know where these monsters came from. So
yeah, I had to explain that to you too, because you guys didn't know where it came
we were confused.
We were very confused.
I knew that they had like taken the people from the ship and put them somewhere to,
in the cargo,
and then like they evolved over time, but I was like, 900 years is not enough time for these people to evolve into creatures. But you had to explain that they were injected with a virus that helps them adapt to their environment, and I was just like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. And I did like the concept of this movie. I think they had a lot of really good ideas. I just feel like it could have been done way better.
Yeah, that's one of the things I really liked about the movie was it seemed very original in terms of like story, because a lot of sci-fi movies where it's like, oh, they awake on an abandoned ship, it's usually like aliens or like just something bad, but this was like they turned out to actually be the rest of the crew. And yeah, so basically just to short explain where the creatures came from, there's these mutated humans that this guy released into the cargo bay, and the ship's been going for 900 years while everyone else is in stasis. So they evolved, but the only reason they evolved was because before the ship launched, they were injected with a virus that helps them adapt to whatever climate or situation that they're in. So yeah, 900 years in the cargo bay with forced evolution basically turned them into those creatures. And that's one of the things I did like about the movie was the creature effects. It didn't look that good.
No, it didn't. For the time that it was made.
Yeah, I think it was 2009.
Oh, was it that late? Okay, yeah. I think they could have done better with the way the creatures looked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, especially for 2009, it's like, that's not that long ago. It's like, you could have done a lot better. It looked really fake and puppety.
Yeah.
It's like you can, in the movie, they do a lot of practical effects. Some of them don't really pay off. So, does it hold up?
I'd say for the most part, it holds up. They could have done a little bit better with their effects. I really do like the effects that when they do open up the like the shutters or whatever, and they can see out into the ocean that they're under, and they've got the creatures that are luminescent. I actually thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it looked really nice.
That looked really nice. But then like you got the final scene where you got all these people in their capsules popping up from the ocean. I thought that was a little weird.
Yeah, it very much looked very, very heavily CGI.
Yeah, very heavily.
Like, it shows them pop up, and then as they're looking around, all the other pods start popping up, and then it pans over, and you see the island in the distance, and the island just does not look good. It looks just as good as the CGI deer in Walking Dead. That's how bad it was. Yeah.
Do you think it holds up?
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, they could have done better with a few things and kind of also made it to where you could understand what was going on. But I think the part that I liked the most about it was actually the end part where they were actually on the planet. Nobody knows how long they were actually really there, but they at least made their destination.
Yeah. So basically, like the end of the film, so they're supposed to go on a trip from Earth to this Earth-like planet. And they, at the very end, one of the scenes I loved was when they opened the shutters to see out into space, and it was just pitch black. Like that initial like plot twist where it's like, oh, where's all the stars? That was like, ooh, I really like that. Like, where are the stars? And then it turns out they were underwater the entire time after being on the planet that they were supposed to get there for the past 900 years. So yeah. So basically, like, your main qualms with the movie are editing.
Not so much editing. It's just they didn't explain how the creatures had gotten there. You know, if I had had a little bit more information on that, I think that I would have liked it a lot better.
So if it was more like straightforward.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of trying to figure out where these creatures had come from that were on the ship, you know.
Yeah, like they explained it once, and it was like a really quick explanation, and like it was also jumping scenes as it was explaining it. So I think that's why me and her were just like, wait, like I don't understand. And then once you explained it, I was like, oh yeah, they did explain that, but I didn't catch it.
We didn't put it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in that scene where it's explaining basically everything, it really is explaining everything because it's cutting between two expositional points, and so you're trying to follow both, but I guess in the editing you kind of can get lost. Like the main reason I understand is because, you know, I've seen this movie 1,000 times and I love it. Yeah, it's definitely one of those movies where the first time watching it, it's probably not that good, but like on reruns it gets better.
Okay.
Like the one movie I'd say that does that is Donnie Darko. You ever watched that?
Oh, I love Donnie Darko.
Yes. Yes.
That one's a good one.
Have you ever seen that?
I think I watched it one time, like a long time ago.
With what's his name? Jake Gyllenhaal. Plays the main character.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. The first time I watched it, like I watched it all the way through and I got to the end and I was like, I have to rewatch that because now I know what the ending is. It's like, well, I have to go back and see this again.
Mm-hmm.
See, I was like that where you have to go back and watch it with The Matrix.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there's little hints all the way throughout there, like calling him Copper Top. And when you watch it the first time, you're just like, okay, what does that mean? You get to the end and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I got to go back and watch all this.
Yeah. So I would definitely say Pandorum is one of those movies where you just got to rewatch it. And it gets better.
I say it's a definitely must-see for, like, the horror genre.
Especially if you're into, like, sci-fi. Like, if you like
Yes.
the alien kind of scene, you would definitely like
Yeah, because
Pandorum.
their concept was great.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the concept alone is worth watching this movie.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so next up on the list is one of my favorite horror comedies, Zombieland. Yeah, so this movie basically follows the plot of four people who basically just journey through the zombie apocalypse. That's as simple as that. All my movies are basically very simple, but they execute it pretty good. And so yeah, what are your guys' initial thoughts on Zombieland?
This is another one I really just didn't care for. I
Who
like.
are you?
I know. I like the actors
You're
that
the
they
one that
got.
had me watch it.
I like the actors that they had, but I didn't like their characters. Like I hated Tennessee, and like everybody loves Tennessee. I was like, he's really annoying. Like I can't stand him.
Yeah, he is annoying.
But Woody Harrelson.
I do like Woody
genuine,
Harrelson. Yeah, and
genuine
Emma
to be
Stone.
human.
I like Emma Stone too, but like I didn't like her character.
Yeah.
And so I guess one thing I did like about the movie was his rules for zombie apocalypse. I actually thought that was pretty
good. As the
good.
movie's going, he starts listing off all these different rules
Yeah.
to survive in the zombie
Cardio.
apocalypse. Yeah.
Rule number 1, cardio, and he's running around the car. So, I mean, that was pretty good. I really like that they put Bill Murray in there.
Yeah, he cameoed, but it was one of those, the movie, it just in general, is very star-studded. Like, it has Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson,
Yeah.
Emma Stone, Abigail Breslin. That's just the 4 in there, and then Bill Murray shows up. But
As himself.
As himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then ends up getting shot because he thought it was funny
Mm-hmm.
to dress up as a zombie in the zombie apocalypse. Well,
Yeah.
I guess that's, Bill Murray.
It was just nice that, like, even though it had a cameo from such a big name like Bill Murray, it didn't really detract from the movie overall.
Oh,
like,
no,
it
it
didn't
didn't.
bring you out of the
Yes.
movie being like, oh, this is ridiculous.
Yes.
It made sense.
Yes.
Especially since he played himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did like, I love Woody Harrelson and pretty much anything he's played in. So that was like my best because him and his Twinkies was absolutely hilarious. He kept searching and searching for a Twinkie.
Throughout the entire movie.
Yes.
Had to have a Twinkie.
Yes.
You know it was a vegan Twinkie, right?
Yeah, because
They had to make it special just for him.
because he
Just for
couldn't,
him.
his dietary restrictions, he couldn't eat a normal Twinkie, and his character at the end of the movie actually finds a Twinkie, and so they had a scene where he eats a Twinkie, but he couldn't eat an actual Twinkie, so they fully made him like a vegan one, specially made just for one scene.
Just
Yeah.
for the one scene.
It was a pretty nice scene too. Like, you feel so happy at the end when he finally gets a Twinkie. Like, yes, he got
I
a
know.
Twinkie.
You can like root for him. Like when they found the hostess truck all turned over, you're like, oh, he's finally gonna get a Twinkie. And they open it up and there isn't
all
any. It's all
snowballs.
snowballs. I was rooting for him to get his Twinkie.
That's definitely one of the things I loved about the movie was it very much balances like just storytelling and comedy. Is like throughout the entire movie, it's pretty
Yes,
funny from start to finish.
it is.
Yeah. Any dislikes specifically?
Not just the characters.
Just the characters?
Yeah, that's all I got. It's just they were annoying. I found Tennessee to be very obnoxious. And
Yeah, Woody Harrelson plays a guy named Tennessee, and he's very macho man. I'm
Yeah.
gonna kill all the zombies. And yeah, that's one of the downfalls about the movie is that all the characters are very stereotypical, like Jesse Eisenberg plays a college geek guy who does nothing but play video games and drink Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
And then here comes Tallahassee, the macho man who takes him under his wing, and then of course they meet the pretty girl, Emma Stone. Yeah.
Tallahassee? Oh, I was saying Tennessee.
Yeah.
See? I've only seen that movie once, that's why.
Yeah, he was, so for those who don't know, they get their names from where they're going, because when they meet up, they agree to not say names, just to not get too familiar. So they call themselves where they're going. So Tallahassee calls himself Tallahassee, because he's going to Tallahassee. And then you have Columbus, and then Emma Stone's character is Wichita.
Yeah.
With her younger sister being Little Rock.
Yeah.
So through the entire movie, that's what they call themselves. And at the end, she reveals her name. I don't remember what it was, but yeah, she finally reveals her name to Columbus after they finally kiss, after the entire movie being like, ooh, will they, won't they?
But any dislikes? I don't know if I really do have any dislikes about it. I loved it. She's actually the one that made me watch it. I was like, oh, it's just, one of those, make fun of the zombie apocalypse. But then she told me it was Woody Harrelson, so of course then I had to watch it. Mm-hmm. And I loved it.
It's like, if Woody Harrelson's in it, I have to watch it.
Right?
Yeah, because he's just so good in everything he does. Even if he plays it, like, over macho, like, really, Tennessee.
Yeah, and he was, he is over macho, but you also have to put yourself in that kind of a position. Like, if you were in the zombie apocalypse, how would you be?
Yeah, I would team up with this guy. I'd be like, take me with you.
Right?
Do everything for me.
Right? Not only that, you don't want to get attached to people, because how many people are actually that are going to die? Mm-hmm. You just want to keep your distance, and you want to be that hard ass to where you can survive.
Mm-hmm. That was one of the things I really liked about the movie. Is it's one of those few movies that it relies on a few number of cast members. Like, throughout the entire movie, it's 4 people, with the 5th one showing up for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And yet throughout the entire thing, you're like, I can follow these guys. Like, it doesn't feel like too slow or too boring or whatnot following these 4 characters around.
And it doesn't feel forced either.
Yeah.
Like,
it feels genuine.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think I gave my opinion by this point.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, all right, whatever. Yeah, it was just kind of another movie to me.
Yeah, it definitely was another zombie movie.
Yeah.
Again, came out like basically from 2000 to 2010. Like, you can say 100 zombie movies came out.
Well, the good thing about like the newer generation of the zombie movies that I liked compared to like older zombie movies is now they run.
Yeah.
World War Z. Oh my gosh. I swear. I went and saw that in the movie World War Z. Oh my. Tell you, if zombies are actually going to be or possibly be anything like that, we're all dead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. There's not going to be a world.
Run, I ain't out running them.
Well, they have brute strength and they have that quickness. I mean, and I loved World War Z for that fact, because they actually did, something a little different. So it was very interesting. And I just absolutely loved it. Yeah,
when I went and saw World War Z, I was kind of worried at the fact that the main character was played by Brad Pitt.
I loved that fact. That was why I actually went and saw it.
I love Brad Pitt,
but Brad Pitt.
I can't really imagine him being in like a zombie apocalypse. It kind of takes me out of it. But watching the movie, he did a good really job, didn't he? Yeah, really played in that very well. I liked it. Yeah, and the zombies are terrifying compared to very every other zombie movie, because they sprint basically faster than humans, and if you get bit, you turn in 13 seconds.
I think it was 12 or 13 seconds. Yeah.
So that's terrifying, because usually every other movie it's like you get bit and then maybe like a day later you die, and then hours after that you reanimate. Yeah. This is like you get bit. This was it's over.
That's it. That's it.
Goodbye.
But I thought it was such a good concept to change up the whole way we looked at zombies.
Yeah, especially since in the movie they were more hive-minded, whereas every other zombie movie, it's like each zombie is to its own. Yes. Whereas this one, it's like they're a giant organism.
Yes. Yeah. That too. Yeah.
We actually have a local author that I really liked. I really like her books, called T.M. Williams, The Accidental Writer, I think is what she calls herself.
Yeah, that's what she calls herself.
She's great. She's local to Arizona, and she's got a book out called The Apocalypse. And the zombies in those are terrifying. Like, even more than Z Nation or any of these, like, no. You gotta read that book. It's only like this big, so
Really?
you can like read it within like an hour.
Oh,
but
geez.
I read that book and what these zombies were doing to people, and I was just like, no, I'm not doing that. She's really great on the detail factor.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's we found her at Comic-Con a couple of years ago. She was doing some panels, and she was selling her books down at the vendor hall, and we kind of got to know her a couple years ago and bought a few of her books. We've got her website and everything. If you do find yourself interested, you can just Google her name. It's T.M. Williams, or you can contact us and we can give you her website, because we do have it. We've been ordering some of her books.
Are great.
Her books are really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but going back to World War Z, did you ever read the book it was based off?
Oh my gosh.
She read the book.
You read
I
it?
Yes.
have not.
So that's why I don't like the movie.
Yeah, because when you watch the movie, you have this giant expectation of what this book is going to be. But then you learn that basically the movie and the book completely separate.
Not even the same characters.
Not even the same characters.
Not even the same zombies. Because even in the book, they were talking about how the zombies are really slow moving, and they weren't these fast, hyped up zombies.
Yeah.
They were actually really slow.
It's kind of like zombies on crack.
So
Yeah.
they
Like,
didn't.
seriously.
They didn't follow it at all.
Yeah, I know. That's
They
what
took
you
the
had
name.
told me, and I kind of don't want to watch. I don't want to read it now, because I do like the movie so much.
Even one of the scenes that was like during the movie's like initial run in theaters, one of the scenes that very highly advertised was the whole plane crash scenario.
Yes.
And in the book, never happened.
No, none of it ever
Sad
happened.
to tell you, never happened.
Yeah.
The plane landed nice and safe. So
Yeah, they didn't. I don't even know how they got from that book to the movie. I really don't know how they got that far.
yeah.
It happens a lot of times with books and movies.
Not as bad as that one, I don't think.
Yeah.
Oh, I know of a few.
But going back to Zombieland, yeah, they run a lot in Zombieland. But one of the main zombies that I remember from the movie is at the very end when they're at the carnival, and Wichita and Little Rock are trapped on the ride, and Columbus goes there to save them, and the zombie clown shows up.
Yeah.
That was a scene, because I saw it years and years ago. I saw it when it first came out.
Okay,
And
so you were pretty
I
young.
was, let's see, I think it came out in 2009.
Yeah, so you
So
would
I was
have been
11.
Yeah.
So yeah, 11-year-old, afraid of clowns, watching a zombie movie, and a zombie clown shows up. So that haunted me for like a week. Did I tell you that Jen had nightmares?
Oh,
For,
that one?
Yeah, for 2
Oh
weeks
my
after
gosh.
the movie came out, because we saw it, the three of us, and she had nightmares for 2 weeks. And she was like, I hate you for making me see this. And that cat is going crazy. But, yeah, so does it hold up? Yes or no?
Yeah, I'd say it holds up.
I think
Yeah.
it does, because it was so good with the characters, and it's not a real serious zombie movie where it was supposed to scare you, but I do think it holds up because there's a lot of comedy and you have a lot of fun
It's definitely
watching
one of
it.
those zombie movies that it's a horror comedy, so of course it doesn't take itself too seriously, but it also doesn't
Yes.
try to overdo the comedy. It's a
Yes,
nice balance.
yeah. So there is a very
So
good
it's like
balance
throughout
in
the
there.
movie, you're either like you're laughing with the characters or you're like scared for the characters or something, because it nicely blends like the scenes together. Where it's like
Yeah.
1 minute you're terrified that one of the characters is gonna die, and then you're laughing at jokes they're making. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it definitely holds up.
I think it
especially
does.
the zombie effects. Like they look pretty nice.
Yeah.
Like there's some CGI bits that, of course, don't exactly look that good but for a horror comedy, it's pretty good
Yes.
in terms of holding up. All right. The next movie we're going to be talking about is actually the shirt I'm wearing. So Friday the 13th, but the reboot that came out in I think it was another 2009 release.
Okay.
Yeah, So basically, it just follows the same premise as all the other Friday the 13th movies, where people go up to a lake and Jason starts murdering. Except this reboot basically summarizes the first one in like 5 minutes, because the first Friday the 13th didn't star Jason. It was actually his mom, just for those who don't know their Friday the 13th lore. And so, yeah, because you haven't seen the originals.
Yes, I've never seen the originals.
Yeah, so the first one doesn't have him in it. It's actually his mom, and then he doesn't get his hockey mask until the third movie. And the reboot takes all of that and summarizes it up in like the first 10 minutes.
Was it? I think it was even like 3 or 4 minutes. It all summarized that up, and then the rest of the movie just kind of went on from there.
Yeah, it basically, the opening of the movie is his mom getting beheaded by a counselor.
Yes.
Which is how he took it up. And then he gets his mask after he kills, I think, like, third guy that shows up in the movie? Like, third group.
Yeah, I think it was the third one, when he was out in the shed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the one hillbilly dude who had the wood chipper.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, it just follows that premise where he kills a bunch of teens who go up to a lake house on Camp Crystal Lake, like always. Yeah. So what were your guys' initial thoughts on the movie?
I liked the movie. I saw it in theaters. I didn't realize I actually had watched it until you're like, here, watch this movie. And I'm like, oh, wait, I've seen this.
Yeah, as you're watching it, you're like, I remember this.
And, like, the thing that stuck out now is, you got Sam from Supernatural in it.
Jared Padalecki.
Yeah, but when I first saw it in theaters, we weren't into the supernatural thing.
We didn't know who he was.
So
like,
it didn't take away
guy.
from that when we originally watched it, when I originally watched it. Like, now that I had rewatched it, I'm like, this is Sam. Like, this is weird, And it's kind of like you were waiting for, like, demons and stuff to come out. And
you're like, come on, Sam, you've been through this.
Yeah.
You can beat him.
So it was different. But I really liked it. I liked the characters that they had. I even liked the ones that were partying up at that lake house and stuff. I liked what's his name? Long black hair that had Lucille. He's the one that brought out the bong, and he's like, it's Lucy.
Oh,
Lucille.
Chewie.
Yeah, and they stuffed him in the trunk of the car and stuff as they're driving up there.
He was one of the coolest characters in the movie.
Yes, he was. He was my favorite, and of course, they all die anyway, so...
Yeah. There's always the final... They call it the final girl, but in the movie, 2 of them survived. Sam and
the girl.
His sister.
Yeah, his sister.
The girl that was from the original campers. And the reason why Jason didn't kill her is because she looked like his mother.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, the movie opens up after, like, his mom gets killed, and then there's this first group of teenagers that go up there, and they don't even get to the camp. They just camp out at, like, a clearing. Jason kills him anyway because he doesn't give a fuck. And the only one he doesn't kill is this girl, and that's because he looks like his mother, as you find out. And then that's why Sam is there, because he's looking for his sister.
Which happens to be the girl that he holds because she looks like his mother.
Yeah, his character is one of the best ones in the movie. Like, it's such a simple thing. He's like, oh, I'm just looking for my sister. And now I'm surviving from Jason.
I liked it. Obviously, never have seen any of the original ones. I did like it a whole lot. Never really wanted to watch any of the original ones. I'm not really into just like the whole slasher genre. I have to say I have watched some though, because Nightmare on Elm Street was one of my favorites growing up. And that's a slasher. That's a slasher one. But I liked it. And of course, Jared Padalecki didn't take that, that stardom. You kind of felt for the group more than, you wanted, because obviously we're Supernatural fans. So it's like, Sam, cool, But he didn't take away from the movie. Because I did like the whole group that was partying up there. Just one of those things where you're watching it and you're like, okay, yeah, I know what's going to happen here. Okay, yeah, I know what's going to happen here.
That was one of the things I loved about the Friday the 13th reboot, was the fact that Sam's stardom didn't take away from
Yes.
anything. It's like, because I watched it before I ever got into Supernatural, because that movie came out, and I saw it went like a year after it came out, and then I didn't even get into Supernatural until like 3 or 4 years ago. So yeah, I watched it and I was like, I don't know who this guy is, but I love him. And then saw him in Supernatural and I was like, oh my god, you killed Jason. Yeah. And then and even if you love Supernatural and you love Jared Padalecki, you watch the movie and he still is pretty relatable in the movie. He doesn't really take away from anything.
No, he doesn't. Yeah.
That was one of the things I liked about the characters, was they're very relatable in some of them. Like Chewie was very funny, and
Yes.
you just want him to succeed. That's all you want from him. But one of the things I didn't like about the movie was the fact a lot of the characters are very stereotypical and very one dimension. Like there's this, oh, he's the like rich kid that's very anal about like his furniture and stuff, and then
Or his boat. Don't take the boat out.
and then you have his like drunk friend that just breaks everything.
Everything. Yep.
Yeah. All the characters were very two-dimensional, one-dimensional, whichever I said. Yeah.
See, the thing that I didn't like about this reboot, it was a little strange that at the beginning he sees his mom get beheaded, and then he's a kid. He comes out of the lake and he's a kid.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't in the lake. He was
how
on
is he
the
a kid when then he's supposed to be an adult?
Because years have passed. I think it flashes forward like 15 years or something.
Yeah, but he's dead. You can't grow when you're dead.
Well, it's just like,
so pick one. Which one are
like
you?
in
Are
the
you a
original,
kid?
in the original Friday the 13th, like it has the same thing where at the very end, they kill his mom and the girl's on the boat, and then he comes out of the lake and he's young but also zombified, and then the next movie he's grown up. It's just how horror movies work.
Yeah. I guess so.
But yeah, it has that flashback in the very beginning where it says like 20 or 15 years ago. So it has that kind of timeline, so it's assuming that he didn't die, even though in everything he's like,
dead.
oh, he drowned.
Yeah. It kind of takes you back. But it was like, did he drown or did he not drown?
Was he supposed to have drowned like at age 8 or 10 or something like that? And then, years later, then he comes out of the lake, but he's like he's an adult.
Yeah, in the like originals, he died, drowned, and then his mom went on a killing spree, and then after his mom died, he came back.
Yeah.
To kill all the people. Yeah.
Okay.
But
See, I don't know. It's just like he just like comes to life, right? And then like, see, the reason why I like Freddy so much is because you find out Freddy actually made this deal with these like 3 demons, and that's how he came back to life.
Like nightmare demons.
Yeah,
or something.
yeah, and it was just like, oh, okay, well that makes sense. That's how you are a being.
Yeah.
Jason's just, oh, I'm just gonna live now. Like,
in the original, I think it implied that he drowned, even though I think they kind of said like he didn't drown, because he was supposed to be human for the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th one until he actually dies at the end of the 4th one, and then after that point he's the zombie Jason that has like supernatural abilities.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've seen all the originals, but I just like they flowed into each other, and I was like, this is weird.
That was one of the things I liked about the movie.
It's all the same.
Yeah,
in
it was
the
all the
originals,
same.
that's what I liked about it, was the fact that each movie kind of did pick up where the other one left off.
Yeah, they did good on those. I remember that.
Whereas a lot of movies, it's just like, forget the last one ever happened. Let's just retcon it.
And then like you got Jason Goes to Hell, where like Freddy's arm comes popping out of the ground.
Yeah, at the
like,
very
yes!
end.
Like,
and then they take 10 years to make the Freddy versus Jason movie that they teased at the end of it. But that was one of the things I liked about this movie, was they made Jason very human rather than the supernatural like Hulk that he is in the originals. He's very human in this one, where in the original they basically imply that he has like teleportation powers, where he basically like teleports everywhere, killing people, because there's no way that he just walking gets places. And in this one, from the very first scene he's in, he's sprinting, he's running, he has like these trap doors that lead under the ground.
The whole camp.
Yeah.
So that explains how he gets everywhere. So basically he's just a human who has a really good muscle build.
Well, that, and like you have the human emotions with it too, because he kept that girl alive because he saw his mother.
And then you saw him even like rage out once, like where he starts trashing his own place.
Yeah. So he's way more human in this one.
What do you think of human Jason?
I liked it. Like I said, I've never seen the originals, but
So this was your only Jason?
this was actually my...
Besides Freddy versus Jason.
Actually, I did watch Freddy versus Jason.
You watched Freddy versus Jason?
Yeah, but that's because I was, like I said, into Nightmare on Elm Street. But I liked the movie. I did. It was neat that they actually made him human, and he had his little lair, I guess you could call it, up underneath the camp, and he could go where he wanted, when he wanted. So I liked it a lot.
Yeah, that was definitely the thing I liked about it. Was one of the selling points I always tell everyone, like when they tell me they haven't seen the reboot, I'm just like, he's human and he's terrifying and he does pretty good. And yeah, some of the kills in there were pretty good. Like one of my favorite ones was when the police officer first shows up and he goes to the door and Jason drops down behind him and sticks a fire poker through his eye. And I love the fact that when he kills him, it pans into the house and you see the fire poker pop out. That was really good. Yeah, the kills were pretty gory and gruesome.
Yeah, they did good.
Like, Chewie dies, sadly.
I know.
Yes.
And his death just seemed so agonizing. Like, Jason basically takes, a screwdriver and slowly sticks it into his neck.
Wasn't it an ice pick?
Yes, it was an ice pick.
It was an ice pick.
Because he was in the...
Damn, that was good for remembering
shed.
that long ago. Ice pick.
It's an ice pick. Because he tries to fight Jason with an ice pick, and Jason just takes his hand, turns around, and slowly pushes it into him. And it's just so agonizing to watch.
Yeah.
So, how do you think it holds up today?
I think it holds up pretty well.
I think it does,
especially with... the actors that they had in it, because we know these actors, whereas like when you go back and watch stuff from the 70s, you're like, I don't know who these people are.
I do.
Yeah, I do.
We do, but I mean, like for today's generation, they don't know.
Yeah.
So I think they did pretty good with it.
Yeah, it's like that movie definitely had a nice blend of like it had a big name like Jared Padalecki, and then a lot of the other cast were just unknown people. It was like, oh, I don't know who these are. But
I'm pretty sure Chewie's played in some comedy stuff. I think, he's done some comedy stuff.
Like, I saw a picture of him now, and he looks completely different from how he looked in the movie. And I saw him now, and I was like, I recognize him. Like, he's been in comedies and stuff.
Yeah. He does a lot of comedy stuff.
I think it holds up. They did a really good job. I think they did... they did a good job making it to the point where, like, if somebody has not seen the originals, that they put in that very beginning how this all came to be, and made it actually make sense to somebody that doesn't know anything about Friday the 13th. So I think it holds up very well.
It was it's one of those movies that does pretty good on being, like, especially part of a huge franchise like Friday the 13th, where it's like, you don't have to watch any of the previous movies to understand what's going on in this. Because it's not only is it a reboot, but it does such a good job of summarizing everything. And it basically is its own movie. Like, I would love to see more of that Jason as opposed to the other one. Because, I mean, I've seen plenty of the old Jason. I want to see human Jason. Yeah. So, I thought it would pretty much hold up today. Yeah. All right, so yeah, my number one horror movie for the 2000s genre is Saw, the first one. Because the first one basically kicks off the entire franchise, obviously. But yeah, so those who haven't seen it, Saw, the first one, its premise is basically two guys awake in a room and they're stuck there, and then you learn they're part of this whole deadly game, and they have to figure out how to get out of it. Yeah. So what do you guys think about the first Saw movie?
Well, we talked a lot about this last time in our intro, that we all really loved the ending because it was just so surprising and you just didn't expect it.
Yeah, it really was. It's a lot of times you find movies where you can guess who the killer is, or you can figure it out before the end. And with this one, I knew I had figured it out, and then at the very end it was like, oh well, guess I didn't.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that does an amazing job of being like, oh, who's the mastermind behind it all, and then basically like in the last 15 minutes, you're led to believe that it's this guy Zepp and he's the mastermind and all
Yes.
that. And then the last 2 minutes is one of the most brilliant plot twists ever,
Right.
where the dead body that was in the room throughout the entire movie was actually the mastermind behind it all.
And sitting there
Just
watching
watching
it
everything.
all unfold as it was happening.
It was my favorite scene in any horror movie, where it was so well edited, and like the way he gets up and the music in the background.
Yes.
It's just,
Yeah.
it's such a good scene. Like, if you haven't seen Saw, watch it for that scene. Like, if you don't want to watch the movie, skip to the last 5 minutes, and you'll be, then you'll watch it and you'll be like, I might want to watch the movie now.
Yeah, it was very well done. And it just, like, when I was watching it originally in the theater, I was just like, oh, you know, it's another horror movie. I've got it figured out. And then at the end, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, a horror movie actually got me. I did not have it figured out. Like, it was very psychological,
Yes, it was.
game that it was playing, because they could save themselves. But in order to save themselves, they have to do something horrible, like cutting off their feet.
Yeah.
It's like, well, am I going to cut off my foot to survive? And you don't know what we're going to do unless you're put into that situation.
Yeah. That's basically like, throughout the entire movie, it shows other traps and other things where, like, one guy, in order to survive and get out of a room before it's locked for like a week before anyone will find him, he has to crawl through razor wire. And it's like, it brings to mind your question. It's like, would I do that? Does that seem worth it?
Yeah.
And like, even the cast is pretty good. Like,
Yes.
the guy who plays Gordon, the doctor in the movie, like, he is pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's played in quite a few things. I like him. He's never been, as far as I know, other than that, too much of a main character, but I've seen him as more of a supporting character in different things. And he actually does some kind of twisted stuff and, not so twisted, but he's a pretty good actor.
Yeah, and then it even has what's his name, Donald Glover, not Donald.
Danny
Glover.
Glover.
Danny Glover.
Yes, Danny Glover.
Yeah, he plays a small role in it. Well, not. I'd say
it's quite
supporting
small.
character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite small, and kind of sucks that he died. But you don't see Danny Glover die too often in movies. But he was a good part.
Yeah, his story was pretty interesting in it. Like,
Yeah, it
following
was.
his detective work, because he plays a police officer who's trying to catch the jigsaw killer who has these people trapped.
Yes.
And it shows his backstory, more or less, because what the movie follows from his perspective was before the entire movie started.
Yeah.
And then it even shows him during the movie, and it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So what were some of your guys' dislikes about the movie?
Okay, well, we were just talking about this, but my dislikes is going to be about the medical aspect
As
of it.
always.
So
We should have a flashing sign that says medical expert
yeah,
right here.
I'm not a medical expert, but
Joanne's medical segment.
So, Lawrence, he's supposed to be a doctor. He's an oncologist. So he's been trained on how to do this stuff, and yet he still puts the tourniquet way too low. It's way too loose, and he bleeds out because I'm just like, well, if you...
bleed out.
Eventually he does, doesn't he? When he's crawling through all the corridors and trying to get out.
No,
Spoilers.
Actually, he survives. He's in the second one. They
Oh,
show him
yeah,
in the
yeah,
second
yeah.
one, so he actually survives.
Well, he's
cutting
not in the
his
second
foot
one.
off.
It's
not the second one.
It's
Is it second
third
or
one, I
is
think,
it the
that
third
shows
one?
it.
But they do show that he does end up surviving.
Yeah.
I don't know, but he shouldn't have because his
'Cause
tourniquet
you-
wasn't right.
What's the last one you saw?
I watched up to we watched up to the
6.
6th one.
So you haven't
one.
seen 7 or
Jigsaw.
Or Jigsaw,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
We still have to get caught up on those.
All right. So I
But-
won't say what happens, but he's definitely surviving, and 7 shows all of what happened.
Oh.
Yeah, but he didn't have it right.
Yeah.
He didn't place
And you
the
would
tourniquet
think
right.
that him being a doctor would
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah, and that's like really easy research. I mean, you could like talk to like anybody in the medical field, nurses, doctors, EMTs. They'll tell you how to do a tourniquet. And that could have been something that could have been improved in the movie just by asking somebody, hey, where do we place the tourniquet when he's cutting off his foot?
Yeah.
And they would have just helped, and it could have been fine.
Like, when I first watched it, I was like, oh, we just, doing that, blah, blah, blah. But now that I know how to do a proper tourniquet, it's like, yeah, it's way too low.
Yeah, it's way too low. And another thing that really kind of got to me, too, was, okay, you got this dead body there, and that's got the gun. So then he kind of gets over there and he touches the body to get the gun, right?
No.
Didn't he touch the hand? He had to get the gun out of the hand?
I think he threw something. I think it was.
He used the belt?
Yes. He used the belt to pull the gun away. Because none of them ever actually touched the body.
Okay, because I was going to say, if they had touched the body and it was not cold...
You would know something's up.
You would know something's up. But no, that's right. They did use something to get the gun. So
yeah.
I think it was the belt buckle that they had tried to get it over to get a hold of it. But
well, then that's my only dislike, was the tourniquet.
Your only dislike was medical. So if they had gotten everything medically correct, you would have like no qualms with the movie.
No, I don't think I would have any problems with that movie.
No. What about you?
I didn't have any dislikes.
Yeah,
Obviously, I'm not a medical, so,
Yeah, so you're not analyzing it.
So I'm not analyzing where they place the tourniquet or anything. No, I really liked it, and of course then went on to do opening weekend every time one of them came out because it was so good. It was so unexpected at the end, and usually I can guess who's doing it and who it is and what's going on, and
this movie shook it up.
It sure did. It shook it up quite a bit.
Like, my main dislike for the movie, besides tourniquet, now that I know, but was like, I don't like it when movies are too edited in terms of like jump cuts, where it's like it has one scene, if they'll cut like 50 times in the one scene, like I understand like that's kind of what they're going for in the Saw franchise, but every time it happens I'm just like, could you not? Like when it shows Amanda and she has the bear trap on her,
yes,
and it like does like a fast edit and all that.
Oh yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about now. It's
like supposed to show off like, oh, it's scary, it's insane, oh god, what they're gonna do. I'm just like, stop it. Stop it. Just show her trying to get out of the trap. That's all I want.
Yeah.
So what did you think of the characters though?
The characters were good.
Yeah.
I think they all did a great job.
Yeah,
it was another one of those movies that it doesn't have too big of a cast. Like, a lot of the movie is the two guys in the room.
Yeah. Shot in a bathroom.
Shot in a bathroom.
Yeah, the two
they
guys
had, like,
and the body.
no budget for the movie, so they tried to shoot it in one location as they could. And it worked.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I think it turned out great.
Yeah. With the Saw franchise, what a lot of people don't like is, so it went on to spawn a huge franchise. Like, it has 8 movies now, and one of the things people don't like is the fact that in each movie you learn more and more about Jigsaw and, like, why he's doing what he's doing.
But I kind of like that. I like the fact that you find out why Jigsaw decides to do this.
Yeah. I love how the Saw franchise is low-key a soap opera. And it's pretty good. It's a soap opera if, people were cutting their limbs off. But, yeah, that's my kind of soap opera. But people, like, in each movie it gets more and more convoluted as to why he's doing this and what took place where, and I love it.
Yeah.
I love how insane it gets.
Yeah, it does. It gets very insane.
Like, even with Jigsaw, it adds a lot more, and you're just like, all right, so where in the timeline is all this stuff happening? Because, like, the 4th movie, when it very much opens, you're led to believe it's after the 3rd one. But then, like, after the first 5 minutes of the 4th one, the rest of the movie takes place during the 3rd one.
Yes.
They don't learn that until the end of the 4th one.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I like Saw. It kicked off this giant franchise that I just love. So, what do you think about how it holds up?
Again, with these 2000 movies, they pretty much hold up. So
I don't think I don't think the Saw movies are going to go downhill very fast, especially with the fact that, you know, it was kind of a fresh idea. It does have that suspense. It does have that, oh my God, I was wrong at the end.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's going to hold up for a very long time.
It was pretty good. It was very nice to see it because it was definitely an original, like, breath into this horror genre that at the time a lot of things were just like, oh, they've done that already. It's all the same,
yeah.
And then this comes out, and years later it basically creates a new genre of horror, the torture porn.
Yeah.
that everyone calls Saw.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know you're successful when you basically get your own genre.
Pretty much.
So yeah, pretty much holds up.
Yeah, I think it does. I think it will for a very long time.
All right. So, so that basically covers my top 5 picks from the 2000s. So, next time we're going to do your 90s.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about my 5 picks from the 90s, and we'll give, like, kind of like what he did, description, likes, dislikes, does it hold up? And then after that, we'll go into the 70s.
And we'll do the same also for that. Line up, I'll have my 5 favorite picks, and we'll do likes, dislikes, and does it hold up?
Yep. And then after that, we'll do the 80s, except we have something very special planned for the 80s, which will probably be 2 episodes.
Yes, 2 episodes.
2 episodes.
Yeah. So, stay tuned for that. And if you feel like it, like and subscribe, and click the links below.